So in the price chapter on rasters, you did a lot of reclassification of raster files, and you're going to do the same thing with remote sensing, only you need to take all of these different pixels and classify them into 3 types, and we're going to classify them into permeable, impermeable, and water. So in order to do that, you're going to let the program do some original chunking of the data into, we're going to start with doing a cluster of 25 different types. And what we're doing is an unsupervised classification. A supervised classification, you would go out in the field, actually measure out different pixels, figure out what the land type was, and do what's called a training or different trainings. So if I run through the, so I'm good, this is from the, I added the image classification toolbar, and because I only have my one multispectral image in here, that's showing up there. And then I'm just going to run an unsupervised classification, and it's going to ask me the number of classes, and I'm going to start with 25 classes, and I'm going to put that in my geodatabase. So I'm going to do, and I'm just going to say, I need the year though, that's not good to take the year off. And I'm just going to do 25 so that I'll know there's 25 classes there. And then I'm going to choose the OK, and it's going to create a new raster with 25 different categories of data. So now I'm looking at, so I probably want to at this point create a spreadsheet that's 1 through 25. And I can see some water features here. So if I were to use the ID tool, and let's zoom in here, I can use the ID tool, and that is pixel value 1. So I'm pretty sure pixel value 1 indicates water. So now I know that at least for water, I've got a pixel value 1. I don't know what this thing is. This is pixel value 23. If I had put on my effects toolbar, okay, I'm going to look at that. Oh no, I want the cluster to move. There we go. Huh. All right. Well, it's not vegetation, and I don't think it's water. So what value? That was 23. 23 could be a field, so I might put that down as a field, and I may have several things that identify, so that would be kind of permeable. Oh, look at that aqua. Oh, that's pretty high vegetation. So that's probably grass or something. So whatever value that is. Okay, so 7 is probably permeable as well. It might be grass. There's another one. So, oh, look at that. That's the railroad track. I'm going to call that 12. Kind of urban impermeable, perhaps. That's these yellow. These are probably houses. 13 would be permeable. I'm going to use my, where's that thing? Here we go. So if I go in pretty close, oh, now it's getting tricky. Okay. So that, yep. So that is your challenge, to kind of go through this and try to chunk it up. Boy, I can really see kind of urban area. If I turn that off, it's showing that water permeable. We're going to redo this. If you find that 25 is too confusing, you could run a second classification. So let's try that, but let's go up to let's go down to 15 and see what happens. So I'm going to call this I know that 15. I wouldn't go less than 15, and in some ways I find that not as clear to me. And then you can also go up. Let's try 30. That's so bizarre that it came in as a stretched. So when you look at this, this is coming in as unique values. I do not know why this one decided to come in that way, but we can fix that. Oh, well, maybe no. So maybe 25 for me might have been the best as far as trying to reclassify these. Okay, so once you have your classifications figured out, then you're going to go through the raster reclassify, and you will end up with a raster file with only 3 values. So if I were to decide that, I'm making this up. So I've decided 1 is water, that's going to be my value. 2 equals impermeable, and 3 is permeable. So I'm just going to go through here, look at my table, and reclassify all 25 of these values. Yours is not going to look anything like this because you're actually going to do it. And I'm going to do it too. I just am not going to do it this morning. So this is a bit different than last year's because there were some major changes when I looked at the lab. You used to be able to do an extract by mask. I'm giving this a lot more water than it has. Extract by mask using the multispectral, but that's not a possibility anymore. So I had to kind of figure that out. Okay, so once you have that, then you're going to call this, I'm going to put it in here. This will be fun to see what this looks like. Okay, that looks like nonsense to me, although the field stuff looks actually kind of good. So according to this, 3 is permeable. 2 is, oh, that shouldn't do that. Turn it. And 1 is water. So you can see, obviously, I didn't actually complete this correctly. Really? You're not going to let me do that? Come on, let me change you. Oh, it's just... Okay, and one is water, but apparently it's not going to let me change that right now, so whatever. Oh, nope, it's not. Okay, so I'm going to live with that. All right, so that is my example of how to reclassify that. When I'm done, I can figure out what the area is based on the count. I could even add a field called type. And then I can start editing and fill this in, as that might let me do water now. Huh. TYOPE, I like that. And I never know if it's single or double. Nope, it's double. Okay. So you can have an attribute table and you can change the alias. Okay. All right. So once you do that, then you're going to do the same thing with the subset I've already provided you for 2000 or for 1987. Then you'll make a map showing the 2 different years and a comparison of area of permeable versus impermeable. And like I said, this is a really rough introduction, and a classification such as this would take you several weeks to perfect. Okay, so have that expectation. I just want you to have an idea of how it's done, and let's see how close we can get.